Morning, everybody. It is 10 a.m. in the morning and it is Wednesday. Okay. I hope you all had a lovely day yesterday. It looks like it's a lovely warm day today outside. My outside is this way. This is my outside. And today we are going to carry on doing ratios. So, morning, everybody. I'll just say a good morning to all of the people online. Morning, Elsie. Morning, Alina. Morning, Dime. Morning, Sahil. Morning, Tabor. Who else have we got in today? Morning, Abu. Morning, Caden. I'm not sure who Stush is, but morning, Kaimane. Morning, Sahil. Okay, right. So, morning, Parisa. Who else have we got? I don't know who my name is. Jeff is, but morning anyway. Okay. Morning, Chanel. All right. So yesterday, I got quite a lot of your responses back regarding yesterday's ratio. Okay. What really morning Fies, what I really want you to do is after this lesson is to go back and revisit yesterday's lesson. Okay. Morning TC. Morning Alina. I really want you to go back and visit yesterday's lesson because quite a few of you were getting there, but you weren't 100% on the accuracy of it. Okay, so it's morning abs. I really want you to go back and double check your answers and double check that you know that you are doing it correctly. Okay, morning Jigir. The reason for that is that each of these lessons are steps on top of each other. So I can see that lots of you can do ratio. Okay, so I know that you can compare two numbers and go, there are three blue cars and there are 10 red cars. Morning, Arvin. So the ratio is 3 to 10. And you can convert that into a fraction. And so I know that quite a lot of you've got those steps, but I want to move on and ensure that you kind of are consolidating them. So it's important you go back and have a look at yesterday's lesson. And then once you've done that, have another go at this lesson, okay? Morning Tabor and morning Caden. Right, so we're going to get started. So we are going to have a little bit of a recap over yesterday's lesson first, but today we're going to be looking at calculating ratio using division. Okay, so we look at calculating ratio using division. Morning Amani. But before we do that, we're going to reiterate that ratio is a way to display relationship between numbers, okay? But we're going to look at yesterday's lesson a little bit. So I've put this slide in because I wanted to just double check that that we're 100% sure of how to calculate ratio, okay? Morning, Hamza. So the ratio of red cars to blue cars, okay? So we have 3 red cars and we have 6 blue cars. So our ratio is 3 to 6. But whenever we see a ratio of 3 to 6, we need to see if we can simplify that as much as possible. Now, yesterday, a couple of people said, oh, well, I'm not too sure how to simplify. Simplify just means that we're going to get these two numbers to their lowest possible number by dividing each side, okay? So, for instance, if this was 3 and 5 cars, well, 3 and 5 are not in the same times table and actually are 2 prime numbers. So we know that those 2 prime numbers cannot go any further than they already are, okay? But in this case, both of these numbers are in the 3 times table. So we have 3 and we have 6, which means if we divide them both by 3, that's going to give us a ratio of 1 to 2. So my ratio would be 1 to 2. Now, just looking at this again, I just want to look at this again because it's important, is that if we look at these numbers, if both of these numbers are prime numbers, then that's the lowest our ratio can go to. So for instance, if it was 2 and 7, well, 2 is a prime number, 7 is a prime number, so actually we can't go any further and we can't reduce them any further. So simplifying ratio is the same as simplifying a fraction. We look to see if both of the numbers are in the same times table. If they're not in the same times table, we look to see if they can be simplified in any other way, and if they can't, then we leave them the same. But in this case, 3 and 6 are in the same times table, the 3 times table, and we can reduce them both down to 1 to 2. So our ratio of red cars to blue cars is 1 to 2. Now, on some of the questions yesterday, it was important you simplify them. So I think one of the questions was the ratio of airports to planes is 25 to 75. Okay. Well, in order to, more than you've seen, in order to understand how many would need if we had 40 aeroplanes, we needed to reduce that ratio down to the lowest possible. So the lowest possible was actually 1 to 3, because if we divided them by 5, it would give us 5 to 15, and then we could divide both of those numbers by 3, and it would give us 1 to 3. Okay, then we would go to the next step. So it's important that when you see a ratio that you simplify it in the same way that you would before. Okay, so this question then goes on to say, how many blue cars would there be if there were 30 red cars? Okay, well, we've already reduced it down to 1 to 2. So we now use this ratio and multiply 1 by 30, which gives us 30, and 2 by 30, which gives us 60. So we now know that actually there would be 60 blue cars for every 30 red cars. Okay. Now, if you're still at the point where you're not 100% sure how to do that, that's absolutely fine. Okay. But I really need you to go back and double check so you can consolidate it and ensure that it's absolutely in your head as you know. Okay. But today we're going to look at using division. Okay. So the ratio of boys to girls in schools is 2 to 1. If a school has 90 pupils, how many boys are there? Okay. So we're going to go through this step by step and we're going to see if we can manage to do it. Morning, Dilraj. The first step is this. We're going to calculate the ratio. Now in this step, it tells you that our ratio is 2 to 1. So there are 2 boys for every 1 girl. Okay. Now the first step of using division to calculate ratio is we are going to use that 2 to 1 and we are going to add them together. So we've got 2 plus 1. Now I know absolutely all of you in this room can do 2 plus 1. So 2 plus 1 equals 3. Okay, so that's our first step. So we've now got our first step is 2 plus 1 and our second step is to add them together. Okay. Now we're going to use that 3 and we're going to divide our total number of pupils, by the 3 or by the answer to that question. So our 3 goes on the outside of our box, of our bus stop, and our 90 pupils go on the inside. Okay. So we have 90 divided by 3. So 3 goes into 9 3 times and leaves us our 0. So 90 divided by 3 is 30. And then the last step is we're going to use this 30 and we're going to multiply it by the number that we are looking at. So in this case, we are looking at how many boys there are in school. So we look at boys and we're looking at the 2 because we know there are 2 boys for every 1 girl. So boys are 2 to 1. So we multiply our 30 by 2 and our 30 by 2 gives us 60, which means that we have 60 boys. So I'm going to go through that again because it's really important that I get you to understand. Okay. So looking at the first step, we look at our ratio, which is this bit here. We look at our ratio, which is this bit. Just one second. Let's just come off that so you can see it. So we use our ratio first, which our ratio is 2 to 1. And we are going to use that ratio and add them together. So it's 2 to 1, and we add together, which means we've got 2 plus 1. So 2 plus 1. 2 plus 1 equals 3. And this is the number we're going to use to divide the total number of pupils. So we've got 3, and we're dividing 90 by 3, which gives us the answer of 30. Now this is the important bit. This 30 is going to be used again. So the first step we're using our 3. The second step we're using the answer again. And the third step we're going to use the ratio again. So 2 boys to every 1 girl. So 2 to 1. And that gives us the answer of 60. Okay? Don't worry, we're going to have another go. And we're going to see if we can do another one together. Okay. So this one says, how many pears would there be if there were 60 pieces of fruit? So our first step is to calculate the ratio of apples to pears. So apples to pears. So we're going to count the pears and we're going to count the apples. So we have 3 apples and we have 7 pears. Okay, so we've got 3, 7. Well done, Amani, for getting that right. 3 apples to 7 pears. Okay. So the next one. Once we've done that, we are going to add our 3 and our 7 together. So we're going to add 3 and 7 together, and 3 and 7 together equals 10. So we're going to add them together. 3 and 7 equals 10. Now we're going to use this 10 here, this number here, in our next part of our calculation. So our 10 goes on the outside, and the number we're going to put on the inside is the total amount of pieces of fruit. Now this might be pieces of fruit, it might be cars, it might be planes, it might be anything, but in this case it's pieces of fruit. Okay, so our 60 goes in the middle and we divide 60 by 10. So 10 into 6 doesn't go, and we carry over the 6, and 10 into 60 goes 6 times. Well done, Sahil. Well done, Amani. The next bit is we are going to use this 6 again. We're going to use our 6. And it says, how many pears would there be? Well, we're looking at just the pears then. So in this case, we can count them and that's fine. But actually, looking at this number here, our 7 is how many pears we've got. So we're going to do 6 times 7. Well done, Elsie, well done, Jagir. And 6 times 7, we know is 42. So if there were 60 pieces of fruit and our ratio was 3 to 7, we would know that there are 42 pears. Okay. Well done, Zuleika. Well done, I think is Hamza, Tabor, Abs, Kaimani, and Parisa, and Chedza, and Fies. So we know that there are 42 pairs. So again, the steps are at the bottom of the screen for you. So they're at the bottom for you. If you're not sure how to do this, it's absolutely fine. These lessons are 15 to 20 minutes long. They are not massive lessons. But what they are is an opportunity for you to have a go, listen to me telling you how to do it, and then if you're not 100% sure, it's for you to go back and practice and practice and practice. Okay? Now, you are likely to be doing this kind of work in year 7 because year 6 gives you the foundation and year 7 is where you consolidate your understanding, so where you really firmly understanding in your mind. So if you can manage to do this now, you are ahead of where you will need to be when you go to year 7. So we're going to have a look at one more. Okay. A garage has 80 cars, which are red, green and yellow. The ratio is 3 to 11 to 6. How many red cars were there? Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is the same as usual. We are going to look at adding them all together. So 3 plus 11 plus 6. So 3 plus 11 plus 6 gives us the answer of 20. Now we're going to use this 20 and we're going to look at this and see how many cars there are in total. So in this case, you can see by the circle, there are 80 cars in total. And this number goes into our bus stop. Now, if you're not sure how to divide 80 by 20, that's absolutely fine. What you can do is initially take off the zeros and then add them on again. So we could make it 8 divided by 2 and then add the zeros back on again. Okay, so we're doing 20 into 8 doesn't go. And then 20 into 80 we know goes 4 times. Quite a lot of people there getting the answer to that one correct. So again, we're going to use this 4 that we've just got here, this number 4, in our next part of the question. And we're going to multiply 4 by the ratio of cars. So the ratio of our cars, our red cars in particular, was 3. So 4 times 3 equals 12, which means if there were 80 cars and the ratio was 3 to 11 to 6, there would be 12 red cars. Now I'm going to go back and just quickly go through that one again because the principle is the same irrespective of the ratio. Apart from you might want to simplify the ratio. So we'll go again. The ratio is 3 to 11 to 6. We add them together, which gives us a total of 20. We use the 20 and we divide our total amount, our 80 cars, which is this here, 80 cars, by our 20. Well, 20 divided by 80 is 4. We use the 4, which is our answer here, and we multiply that by the ratio of the item we're looking at. So in this case, it is red cars. So red cars are a ratio of 3. 4 times 3 gives us our answer of 12. There would be 12 red cars. Okay. While we're on now, I'd like you to have a go at telling me how many green cars there would be. So I'm going to go for a second. I want you to tell me how many green cars there would be and the steps you would take to do it. Okay, so it's great to see lots of you have got the right answers. Well done, Fies, Ella, Tabor. Who else we've got? I think we've got Amani and Saher, Khadija, Zuleika, Caden, Abs, Wasim. Lots and lots of people you getting it right. Chedza. Lots and lots of people are getting it right, which is great to see. Now, if you're not one of those people and you're Vinay, if one of those people and you're thinking, oh, do you know what? Actually, everyone else is putting 44, so I'm going to stick 44 down. And you know yourself that you don't actually quite understand it. It's fine. No one else does. Okay. But even if they did, it's fine that you don't understand something you've just been taught, okay? It's for you now, and this is part of you maturing and part of you growing up. It's for you to be able to go, do you know what, I don't quite understand, but I have these resources online that can help me, so I'm going to have a look, okay? Because I'd really like it, again, if you answered the questions on the next part and sent me the answers on Dojo. So here are your questions for today. There are 3 questions, and you'll notice they're fairly similar to yesterday. They're just worded in a slightly different way, okay? I'm going to leave this on for a short period of time. I'm then going to come back on and say goodbye again. And then I want to see all of your answers either photographed and sent on Dojo or messaged on Dojo. I'll try to respond to you all as much as possible, but you can imagine there are 92 of you, and lots of you, although you may not be on the chat right now, will be watching this outside of the chat or at a different time, okay? So if I can respond to you, I will do. If not, I will come online and we'll have a chat. Remember, this is the last lesson for this week because I am actually going into school tomorrow. So have a wonderful, wonderful day and weekend, and I will speak to you tomorrow. I'll come back on in a couple of minutes just to say goodbye. So make sure you're writing these questions down. If not, make sure you come back and you check again. Okay, so you hopefully have managed to get them all written down. Like I say, message me on Dojo. I didn't have many messages yesterday of people who had actually completed it. So if you can, send me a message on Dojo to done it. I think somebody's already just sent me one. Yep, somebody's already just sent me one. Well done, Parisa. Have a lovely day, a lovely weekend. Remember to get as much exercise as you can and have as much fun as you can with your family. These are difficult times for everybody, so it's important that you spend as much time as possible together and have fun together. Well done, everybody, again for coming online and working hard and doing as much work as you possibly can. It's great to see that you are working to continue your learning. In terms of next week is half term, which means you don't have any work from me, okay? When we go back to school, it might not be possible for me to do a live lesson every day because I will be in school, okay, for the 3 days. Um, so, but my intention is to still, if I can, and if I've got the time and capacity to do it, is to still provide you with some lessons. So the idea would be that I would hopefully record the lessons that I will be doing in school and post them on for you to be able to do them. I can't promise that that's going to be the case because I don't know how many children are coming in, and I don't know if it's going to be possible for me to be able to do my job and do this. If I can, I absolutely will, because it's been brilliant seeing you chatting and having a laugh and also doing your work and then getting it back, okay? So have a wonderful weekend, everybody, and I will see you when I'm back online, okay? Take care of yourselves and send me as many of these answers as possible, okay? Have a great weekend. See you later.